Hello and welcome to Ticket to Ride from Switzerland. The key transit routes between the North Sea ports, Western Germany and the Lombardy region of Italy both run through Switzerland, the Gotthard and the Lötschberg respectively. The Lötschberg route was modernised in the 2000s, culminating with the 2007 opening of the Lötschberg base tunnel. The Gotthard Railway will see the first fruits of its modernisation, another base tunnel being taken into operation in 2016. In the early summer of 2016, using new technology, Ticket to Ride recorded the traffic over the classic mountain railway and its approaches, much of which, over the central section, will never be seen again in such volumes or diversity. We present the Gotthard Railway from the air. Brunnen is a popular resort town on the edge of Lake Lucerne, a regular calling point for the lake steamers. Because of its location on the Gotthard Railway, the town has some industry as well, including a cement works owned by Holcim. While cement is no longer made here, it remains as a bagging plant and a distribution terminal. Passing the plant is a double ICN set on a fast service from Lugano. To the left of the ICN set is more industry, including the rail-connected steel stockholder Arthur Weber. You can just make out their modern blue warehouse to the right of the passenger train. In the background on the far side of the Urnersee is the Uri Rotstock, snow-covered and nearly 3,000 metres high. There is room at Brunnen station to hold a freight train in either direction, so this mixed freight is accelerating away from the loops, having allowed the high-speed train from Lugano to pass. The DB cargo freight is passed by an SBB cargo train of sliding wall vans, heading south on a domestic wagon load service. These two-axle vans were made for SBB in Poland and are now about 6 years old. The northbound freight is crossing the river Morta that rises high in the mountains to the east. The railway south alongside the Urnersee appears to be single track, but it's not. The southbound line is in a series of tunnels. The lines are only visible together at Zizikon and again just north of Flölen. At Flölen, both rail lines run directly alongside the lake, a delightful location. North of town you can see the main road carved into the mountain, but of the railway there is no trace until the town is reached. Before the railway reached Lucerne, travellers from the south transferred to lake steamers to continue their journey. the tradition continues. Bleulen is a transfer point for the tourist boats that ply the lake. As you can see, the connection between the two modes of transport could hardly be more convenient. This is the Amsteg Valley, looking south, with Erstfeld in the background. To the left of Erstfeld is the massive Hoch Geisberg. The climb out of town is a steady 2.6%. This is the view looking south, with the Reuss on the right and the motorway, just out of sight, further right. Approaching us, heading for Erstfeld, is an SBB intermodal with the classic mixed traction, one RE66 and one RE44. Many of these locomotives will be surplus to requirements by the time the second base tunnel, the Ceneri between Bellinzona and Lugano, is complete in 4 or 5 years' time. Incidentally, unlike the more modern traction operating on the line, these machines do not return current to the catenary on a descent. The braking force is dissipated as heat. As part of the celebrations for the opening of the first base tunnel was a special train organised for the Saturday before. Double-headed steam traction was selected for this important event. Some TLC was given to both locomotives at Erstfeld before they were dispatched, dead on time at 12 p.m. The locomotives were matched with 8 vintage bogie coaches and looked wonderful in their olive livery. From the north, the first spiral is near the village of Pfeffensprung. This is the only true spiral on the north ramp, as it's the only one that passes over its own trace. Here you can see a southbound interregio between the two tunnels on the 200-metre open section between the tunnel mouths. An ICN unit has just passed in the opposite direction, heading for Erstfeld. The interregio emerges about 2 minutes later from the Pfeffensprung Kehrtunnel, having completed an almost 360-degree turn within the mountain. The Baroque church at Wassen, dedicated to St. Gallus, predates the railway by 109 years, having been built in 1733. Its appearance today is a result of extensive renovation between 1965 and 1967. It is famous because of the railway, as it is seen 3 times from each passing train, an anchor point for passengers confused by the constant change of direction as they proceed over the mountain railway. This is a train on the mid-level. It has left the 180-degree Wattinger Tunnel and the short Rohrbach, and is heading for the 185-metre Mittlere Enschicktal Galerie Tunnel. The train is heading north at this point, although it's a southbound service, which of course is why it gets confusing. The railway passes over a dramatic tributary of the Reuss that rises at the base of the 2,800-metre Schaffschien mountain west of the village. Trains, This is another SBB cargo intermodal, then leave the village and head for the longest of the Wassen tunnels, the 190-metre Göschenen, which turns nearly 180 degrees, bringing the railway back to a southerly course. Along this top section are two further tunnels, both quite short, respectively the 78-metre Rotkreuz and the 102-metre Obere Enschichtal. This, to recap, is a northbound service running south through the central section of the complex. The DB cargo freight runs over the river bridge and then through the Mittlere Tunnel. After this short tunnel, the train will run through the unused Wassen station, which we will see shortly. Wassen station is now below us, as an intermodal from the south enters the complex. The tail of the train is still in the Nachsberg Tunnel, the exit towards Göschenen, while the head is just entering the Obere Enschichtal. The service is northbound and is currently running north. The long train will pass through the short Rotkreuz and then turn 180 degrees within and just beyond the Göschenen. This will bring it through the middle level section running the wrong way. The train will pass through the village and through Wassen station, heading for the Wattinger Tunnel, where it will turn 180 degrees again and head north underneath the village by the main road. Before we leave Wassen, a few shots taken at ground level. Because of the proximity of the main road and the presence of numerous power transmission lines, some locations around here are non-suitable for aerial photography. The crossing of the Reuss and the entrance to the Wattinger Tunnel are better taken from the ground. This is a southbound postal train heading into the tunnel and then running back through Wassen station. Of the remaining run to Göschenen, half is inside the 1,570-metre Naschberg tunnel, so there's nothing to see. The remaining 1.5 kilometres continues to rise at 2.5% right up to the station throat. These ground shots show a DB cargo mixed train on the approach. And then running through Göschenen station, the Gotthard tunnel mouth being just visible in the background. While the village of Göschenen is no larger than Wassen, it has a strategic location and is therefore of relatively impressive proportions. Of course, it is at the mouth of the tunnel and therefore has operating significance. But it is also a junction, or rather a connection station, served by the MGB, Matterhorn-Gotthard Bahn, a single-track railway making a connection to the route of the Glacier Express at the slightly larger town of Andermatt. The station consists of an island platform plus a single face to the west where MGB park in the station forecourt. To the east are sidings and loading platforms, occasionally used to load and unload military vehicles. At one time there was a car shuttle using the Gotthard tunnel. Thank you for flying with Ticket to Ride over the north ramp of the Gotthard Mountain Railway. The next instalment of the series continues over the south ramp, Airolo, the Padrea and the Piano Tondo spirals. Biasca, and all the way to Bellinzona. Lots to enjoy. Do join us. Until then, it's bye for now.